All right. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful full day. I have Savannah and Miller from JPR, fresh from their aeroplanes back home to Atlanta and New York City, but here to talk about all things 2026 trends. I will let them take it from here. And just so you know, I'll jump back in the end, post questions, because we're going to have Scott Peacock on to talk to us about the brand new website. But for now, over to you two.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Vita. I can only see me, Vita, and Sav's face on the side since I'm sharing my screen with you all. But any faces that I just saw a couple days ago, it's good to see you again. If not, if you're new here, Savannah and I, as Vita mentioned, I'm based in our New York City office. I'm senior director at JPR. I've been here about 9 years now, originally from Greenville, go Pirates. So working on the motherland, if you will, really speaks true to my heart. And then Sav's in our Atlanta office. I'll toss it over to her to say a quick hello, and then we're going to jump right in on all things 2026. We'll have some time at the end for questions, but really hoping this shapes you all up for success as we look into the new year.
Great. And just a quick hello. Like Miller mentioned, I'm Savannah. I'm based in our Atlanta office, but have been with JPR for the last 6 years. Love kind of being in our Southern office. Love all things sales. So, like Miller mentioned, just getting to work on VNC is great. So, I know I'm sure I saw some of you just this past week, but for anyone new, hello and nice to meet you. And we're excited to dive into all things 2026.
Great. Awesome. All right, kicking right off, we've broken out each slide here. We'll touch a little bit on all buckets, ranging from general travel to luxury to culinary to wine to spirits to weddings and all of the good stuff in between. But really kicking off with first things first, U.S. travel. So togetherness is taking off. Group and social travel are going to continue to boom in the new year. Americans are really turning to vacations into opportunities for connection. We're seeing, friend reunions, themed getaways. I know we talk later on as well about more milestone travel. So in general, traveling together will continue to see that at your properties and destinations. Purpose-driven travel is on the rise. So passion is really now driving travel destinations. We're going to see a lot more Americans planning trips around cultural events. This is not limited to just the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, as you guys probably saw this year, but even more. We're seeing F1, personal interests, maybe that's big racers. Is it, just concerts? Is it the Super Bowl? Everybody's going to really continue to travel for those things, and other things are picking up more too. Comfort, safety, this is going to remain a priority. Travelers in 2026 are going to seek security and ease over adventure. We will touch on adventure later through more of the active and adventure realm, but people are really going to favor something new but familiar, maybe private, maybe sometimes predictable, but they really are going to be overall looking for peace of mind, just with the world we live in right now, making sure they can pack their bags safely. And then finally, opting outside. So American travelers are going to continue to crave that nature-based escapes. A lot of growing interest in outdoor destinations, national parks, which is amazing for us. Remote hotels, really that fresh air and freedom.
Great. And jumping into our media trends for the year, of course, as we all know, the media landscape is always changing. It's in a constant state of flux. But we have some key trends here that we're kind of seeing shape the industry into this year and, of course, into 2026. So one of those is being Substacks. We've really seen Substacks really mature, just moving past simple newsletters and becoming a full-blown media channel on their own. So this is allowing media and kind of editors to skip the gatekeepers and talk directly to their audiences and get paid for in-depth and very niche content. So this is definitely something to keep your eye on in 2026 because, again, that niche content really helps get you directly in front of an audience. And I think in the past, some people think of these smaller blogs and newsletter Substacks as not as, driving the needle, but it definitely is and something to look to in 2026. Next up, we have creator-led content. We're certainly in a creator economy right now, and certainly becoming a major force. Brands are actively partnering with individuals and smaller teams to produce authentic content that really speak and resonate with very specific online communities. Next up, we have tuning into trades. Of course, trades have always kind of been important, but especially in the age of AI and search, we're seeing that niche trade publications and expert-driven data are gaining huge authority, specifically because these are being pulled into AI searches. So when people are searching, things that are in trade publications or websites are getting directly into that, just because they tend to hold credibility and weight. So definitely more popular than ever as we look into 2026. And then next up, we have a business model shift, particularly in the award industry. Awards are evolving into a monetization model. So while winning an award is certainly an honor, it's being converted into a profitable business model, with the award itself becoming a highly valuable asset, a recurring revenue stream, and just a marketing asset in itself. So certainly something that's shifting the media landscape. And then looking at some fun travel trends. First up, we have some days now. I think in the past, with the economy, we've seen some people waiting on the right time or the right time in the economy to plan these trips, but we've certainly seen a shift and people are wanting to take those now, and they're really prioritizing transformational travel, no longer waiting for someday to book that trip, but booking it now on those kind of bigger bucket list trips or dream destinations that they've been wanting to visit for a while. Travel twins, this is a fun one. Traveling to trending destinations on major cities can often be met with those higher costs and crowds, of course. So with the economy, people are looking at destinations where they can maybe have a similar experience. So an example to this would be Santorini, Greece. People tend to know that it's met with very high costs. So if you want to go to Greece, maybe go to Paros over Santorini, where you can get a similar experience, similar F&B, but at that lower priced cost. So again, just looking at these destinations where maybe it's a little bit lesser known, less buzzy, but you can still get a similar experience. And then next up, we have elevating the journey. In the past, we've seen people look at their trips as starting maybe once they get off the plane and once they kind of land in their destination. But with the evolution of ground travel, we're seeing people really lean into this and kind of making it more a part of the overall experience. We're seeing trains become faster, smoother, more comfortable. Also sleeper buses. So again, instead of just waiting until your trip is started in the destination, really incorporating the journey as part of your overall experience. And then we have tennis and golf travel. It's no secret that sports tourism has been popular in the past couple of years, but specifically looking at 2026, we're really seeing tennis and golf travel maintaining the spotlight for both men and women. So it's definitely something that will be kind of driving a new wave of destination-driven itineraries where access to top courts and courses is increasingly important.
All right, switching gears to all things culinary, find dining over fine dining. So foraging and hyperlocal sourcing will really take center stage. We're hearing a lot of travelers craving that authentic, sustainable, and place-driven meals for that sense of place while they're dining. Tiny takeover, bite-sized versions of classic dishes. So think, burgers and sliders, that's the norm, but we're seeing a lot more fun twist to it. So think mini martinis and maybe micro mains. They're really refining in indulgence and how we indulge. I know I mentioned this when presenting on Tuesday as well, but we've got New York restaurants are popping up with some of these, like a mini slider and mini martini menu, like pairing them together with little drinks and little food. So we're going to continue to see this in the new year. High and low pairings, this is no surprise. We've seen this over the last, I think, year and a half, 2 years, especially in terms of events. So thinking of that caviar on top of a Lay's chip, it's delicious if you haven't tried it. Adding in champagne where you can with high and low foods there too. It's a really, we're looking at the twist on fine dining, but still making it very approachable. And then smart dining. So AI-driven menus will really personalize dishes to guest tastes and goals, really turning in dining experience into an interactive, tailored visit to your restaurant or your bar or anything on site you might have. Wine and spirits, kicking off here with cortisol cocktails. Anybody on TikTok might have seen this, but it's really a TikTok fueled cocktail that's taking off. It's a mix of coconut water, citrus, magnesium, and salt. So think definitely more self-care than science while still sipping. Retro 70s to 90s cocktails are back. So think of retro spins on maybe an espresso martini, an Amarado sour is going to come back. Really looking at top shelf ingredients with that modern flair, but bringing back the nostalgic and retro touches where they might be tasty. Terra-driven spirits, so drinkers craving spirits with sense of place again. Whether that's wine and cocktails mixed with local soils, grains, botanicals, a true sense of place. And then non-alcoholic drinks will continue to rise just in the terms of drinking and travel trends and where the two collide. So alcohol-free options, functional beverages are booming. I loved seeing at the Natural Sciences Bar when we were there for the event. They had a whole THC menu, so looking at more of those functional beverages, blending wellness with social sipping and be able to still go out to a bar or a cocktail lounge with your friends, but have something unique.
Great. For wellness, when it comes to wellness, we're seeing a focus on consumers seeking more than just self-care and really a science-backed solution for longevity. So everything from hormone balancing, optimized health, and really kind of this holistic look at wellness. So first up, we have regenerative farming. So this is kind of beyond just organic foods, which of course is certainly having a moment, and we're seeing people really lean into organic foods. But this is more of a hyper-focused ecological approach to food, and really looking at things like cover crops, which are actually healing the soil and pulling carbon from the air. So it's making our food system much more resilient, but also giving back to the earth and a bit more sustainable. So this is having a moment for 2026. And then fitness retreats, people are treating health as the ultimate status symbol, and meaning that they're shelling out a lot of money for fitness retreats that kind of give them, again, going back to that holistic approach, kind of a holistic look at their health. So looking at things like metabolic health, sleep cycles, superfood nutrition classes, everything that kind of goes into these fitness retreats that are having a moment. Next up is AI-generated workouts, thanks to things like smartwatches and other tech that we're seeing also be popular and coming into the wellness space. AI is now eliminating the guesswork, and you can have a customized treatment based on everything specific to your body. So that can be based on your stress levels, or did you sleep well last night, or even down to what you ate the night before. If you ate a steak and had a high protein dinner, maybe your body can handle a bit more of a workout that day than if you had a pizza and a few beers. So it's definitely giving you kind of a curated guide to working out, which is pretty cool, but definitely something we'll continue to see in the wellness space, and we'll continue to see grow in terms of AI, which is dominating all the industries. Next up is a September reset. I know when we think of wellness, a lot of times we're thinking of new year, new you, kind of a bigger emphasis on wellness in the new year, but we're kind of seeing a shift with kind of another moment for wellness specifically in September. We saw a surge in spikes, or a spike in searches this year on September reset of over 1,300. which is basically a back to school style mental reboot. So it encourages reflection, habit shifts, digital declutter, kind of all these things that can take you through the rest of the year feeling recharged and refreshed overall.
Adventure travel. So we're seeing self-guided active travel. They're really ditching maybe tour guides or guides for a curated self-led adventure. Still looking for those luxe itineraries and of course an on-call support for a personalized touch or if they need any help. Sports tourism, I know we mentioned this in the first US general travel kickoff, but continue to see through the adventure list here lens marathons, mountain retreats, those wellness seekers alike and athlete travelers are fueling the growth of experimental fitness focused travel. And then Gen X are really leading the adventure travel boom, favoring cultures, trips that are blending culture, comfort, while also being able to actively explore.
Next up, we have some family travel trends. Similar to what Miller just mentioned with the culture, we're kind of also seeing this in the family realm with the deep dive vacations. So more and more travelers are choosing trips that reflect their values. So it's no longer about what to see or where to go, but more about why the trip matters and what the impact it has, and why you're choosing that trip, especially as pricing for travel continues to soar. So this is essentially a deep dive vacation and focuses on cultural immersion, sustainability, and really delivers a specific purpose. This one in particular is great for kind of that Western North Carolina story. Again, think giving back to destination or helping make it how it was before. So things like that. Next up, the family that spas together. This is a really fun one that we're seeing specifically in hotel spas. So think anything from baby treatments to toddler treatments, the things for teenagers, really bringing a multi-generational approach to wellness and no longer just being an adults only situation, but really allowing the whole family to be brought in, and with these little dedicated itineraries specifically for the whole family, which I think is a really fun trend that we're seeing. And then celebration travel. I know Miller kind of touched on this at the top of the call, but really milestone moments are taking center stage in 2026. So think everything from 50th birthday trips, graduation trips, retirements, really a way to get the whole family together and celebrate these milestone moments in life. And then we're seeing a lot of private villas or big smaller boutique hotels being booked up solely for the whole family. So that multi-generational lens again, but really these big epic celebrations. It's funny, our coworker and colleague, Julia, who I know some of you may know, was just saying how she is planning this big family trip next year. And they're going all out with first class airlines. So definitely a trend that we're seeing. I'm sure some of you have done it yourselves, but just a fun way to get together with the entire family and celebrate life.
And last but not least, touching on wedding trends for any of your destinations or venues that are hosting events. So long gone are the beige weddings. We're seeing a lot more bold, immersive, think more is more celebrations. Not only in terms of design, but also multi-day destination weddings. A wedding that used to start just on a Saturday now is calling for you to be there maybe starting on Thursday night for a welcome cocktail. Wedding content creators for hire, content. This is along with maybe also a videographer and a photographer for an event or a wedding. It really allows that TikTok and Instagram culture we're living in. The bride and the bridal party immediately that night or the next day can go ahead and post and share with their followers the content gathered from the wedding. AI and I do. So as AI reshapes the world of media we work in, immersive, human-centered experience will still remain the ultimate way to connect with planners and couples. And then finally, the rise of publication obsessed brides. So seeing a lot more of those editorial worthy weddings, pushing venues to market with magazine quality imagery and storytelling as well. And that brings us to the end of 2026 trends.
Very nice. Thank you, ladies. Guy Gaster jumping in here to help with the Q&A portion. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into either the chat or the Q&A feature. One has come in. The first one here. Can you give an example of somewhere in North Carolina that can be a travel twin?
I'm thinking off the top of my head. I think it's also looking at how we can look at a destination that's popular, let's say Amalfi Coast, Italy. Let's say Wrightsville Beach. You're still looking at, say, those pastel sunsets, the yacht and boating culture, the chic beach town. So looking at how Wrightsville can really channel the southern US version of the Amalfi lifestyle, while you guys also have coastal dining, luxury stays. Another one that maybe came to mind is the Highlands compared to maybe that's that chalet style Swiss Alps. You guys have the amazing crisp air I'm already missing in New York, with a little bit of slice of Switzerland tucked maybe Blue Ridge Mountains. Sav, feel free to chime in if any come to you.
Yeah.
Top 3, 4. Yeah.
I think it can also be, like I mentioned, it's really about creating a similar experience. So let's say someone wanted to do they've always wanted to do a big international culinary trip. North Carolina has amazing culinary destinations. So looking at it that way too, about doing kind of a culinary trip through North Carolina that might be a little bit more cost effective than, say, going abroad. So it can be looked at in that lens too, or say a big, like Miller, I think mentioned the Swiss Alps, known kind of as this active luxe adventure. North Carolina has so many in that way too. So it could be looked at in that lens as well. But really, you can make a case for anything that has a similar experience.
Yeah, and I think also how anybody, maybe American travelers also, I know myself, I just went to Spain and I try to shove in as much as I can. I wish we had that like European holiday culture that they have, but we really try and do as much of bopping around in areas as you can, Barcelona, Madrid. Let's do the same for ours. Let's do, Boone, let's go to Asheville. Let's hit Highlands, all of these places that people can go and have similar experiences and create a really curated, self-guided itinerary too.
On the celebration event travel, is there research showing how early that's being planned? I know we're seeing booking windows are coming closer to the dates, but for something like an anniversary or does there seem to be more time being used to plan those, or are those booking windows also shortening?
I think it depends what you're booking. I think if people are booking, those weddings and events, that still remains true to say what, a year and a half in advance. Those things are booking up so fast, and so are the vendors. In terms of maybe a more milestone family trip, I know I'm looking at maybe planning my parents' anniversary trip, which is November of next year, but I'm going to start looking at that probably November or December of this year, just for the sake of planning. I am a larger family, so I think it depends who you're traveling with, and how ease are they and of just hopping on a flight and booking travel. Do they need a lot of time to prepare? So also knowing your audience and who you might be attracting. I think some of those younger travelers that maybe don't have the travel anxiety are able to hop on and book it faster, but everybody really differs. I think in general, still looking at those somewhere between 6 to 8 months is a really great sweet spot. And then more of the type A planners like myself, maybe even a year.
Great. And we'll do one more here, but just for everyone else, Miller and Savannah are going to stay on. So if there are other questions that come during Scott's talk about visitnc.com, feel free again to drop those in the chat or the Q&A. function here. And now I totally just lost my other question. I do know, for some of our partners that are one-person operations, if you will, or do have that limited staff, sorry to do this, but I'll ask each of you, what's the one trend that you would maybe say that if they focused on coming up in 26, that they might be able to get the biggest bang for their buck back?
I can go first on this one. I think, like I mentioned, the Substacks, I think that's a really good opportunity, especially you mentioning kind of the smaller staff. Maybe it's hard to do all the things you want to do, but looking at these really niche audiences, you obviously know your audience as well, and you know what you're looking for, who's coming to your destination. So I think it's a really good opportunity to look at these smaller channels that maybe in the past we haven't seen be as important, but we're really seeing that they're driving ROI, they're getting people in front of a specific audience. So I think that's a really good opportunity. It's also a little bit more easier, approachable to some of these maybe big things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we touched on this on Tuesday in terms of Substacks as well, but our agency had a learning, we were able to have a lunch and learn. Very grateful for that, but we're going to continue to keep our eye on that. Absolutely would back that up on Savannah's pick there. My pick probably, I'd say really to look at that comfort and ease as the new luxury. So, not necessarily new infrastructures or spend, but it's really about positioning and presentation. Simplify the decision making for people coming to your destination. Present experiences that are, stress-free, easy parking, clear itineraries, giving them free time, cozy stays, friendly face. Really, that's going to be like the new premium, if you will. I think we're continuing to see that more and more. And luckily, we live and represent a place that is true Southern hospitality. So I think all of this comes really easy of a familiar face from most of you guys, just remembering the simplicity and comfort and more of an emotional ease almost for people coming to your destination, so that they not only leave maybe feeling refreshed or rejuvenated, but they also go home and tell people, I went to XYZ, I loved it, I already can't wait, I want to go back next year.
That's awesome. Both those very good. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I said, the ladies are going to stay around here. So if there are any other questions or things that pop up, please don't hesitate to let us know. In the meantime, happy to welcome Scott Peacock onto the webinar. And Scott's going to give a little bit of an update on the recently relaunched visitnc.com. Take it away, Scott.
Thanks, Guy. Good morning, everybody. I'm in Des Moines, actually working on our 2026 travel guide. I can't turn the camera around and you'll see the cover and all the beautiful pages, but we're here with our partners at People Inc., formerly Dotdash Meredith, putting that travel guide to print here very shortly. So just wanted to give you guys an update on the website. It's launched. I hope everyone's had a chance to take a look at it. If you haven't, please go check it out. It's something that we're really proud of. It's been over a year and a half in the making at this point, and a couple of things to let you know about. One, our partner webinar next month is going to be a deep dive on the website. So you're going to hear a lot more about it then. I'm not going to waste time with it now. We've got a really good, robust program built for you next month, and hopefully you can make that one. If not, as always, it'll be recorded and put online. But our new website is AI powered. Our search functionality is all built around an AI model that we're working with to help really understand the traveler and to serve them more of the content that we know is of interest to them. So we're excited to kind of lean into that. It's also really built around the LLM and out there. And so we're really making sure that the content we've written and put on the website is not only helping a traveler that might visit the website themselves, but it's helping these LLMs like ChatGPT and Gemini to serve them our content as well to help plan their trip, because it's our estimation that probably in a year from now, the majority of our website traffic could be LLMs and not actual visitors themselves. So it's a crazy time in the world, but we wanted to make sure that this new website, and part of what took so long to get it launched was wanting to make some pivots to make sure we could adjust for AI and large language models in the way that travelers are starting to plan now. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, it's really built around that high level inspirational part of the travel funnel. We want to make sure that our website is really out there to inspire people and to get them to think about North Carolina first and foremost over competitive states. And from then drive them down funnel to get to you guys, our local DMOs, or even our local businesses to learn more and to shop around and to figure out exactly where they want to go in the state. So the biggest thing you'll hear more about on the webinar next month is also just going to be upfront this kind of mind shift of where we think we fall in the travel planning funnel. And that's why we've done things like get rid of the business listings that we used to have, because that was ultimately competing with website traffic to you guys, our local partners, and it was redundant. And it's also stuff that people can find on Google right now. And so there was no need for us to really have some of that content there when it can be found more easily and readily and get down to you guys more quickly. So we hope you get better quality referrals from us moving forward as well with the new website. But excited for the webinar next month. If you haven't had a chance to look at the website, please do so. And if you see anything on there that you have a question about, feel free to reach out to us at any point in time. You don't have to wait for the webinar. We're happy to take a look at something or answer any questions you have and give us your feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We'd love to hear from you on it. We're really proud of it, and I think it's going to be serving us well. So that's all I have, Guy, unless anyone had a burning question that they want to ask before the partner webinar. We've also started our, I should say there's one more thing before I say that was all I had. We've got our database training. So for those of you that are your county contact for our database, the only database entry that you're going to have to worry about moving forward, since we don't have these business listings anymore, is the event listings. That is the one thing that we're keeping on the new site. It's the one thing that you as a partner can control as far as the content on the site. And it is more important than ever to make sure you give us your best events and give us those thorough descriptions that are enticing to visitors, because you're going to see on the new site that the event listings get pulled into all kinds of different pages and are served to the visitor many times, many different ways, not just when they're on the event page. So it's a really important feature that you have control over, and we want to make sure you guys are trained up on it. So the first training was yesterday, and we've got 2 more coming up to make sure we hopefully catch everybody that needs to get trained up on it. So, but I'll pause there and hand it back over to you guys. Thank you, Guy.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So any other questions here before we say goodbye? Again, I'll give a chance. Oh, Scott, where can partners find information about the database training sessions?
Terry, I'll make sure that Katie or Kathy Prickett reach out to you on that. These should be on their list already, but they send out an email to all the county contacts from the database, from the old website, to say, hey, here's the information. So I'll make a note, Terry, that you maybe didn't get that invite, and make sure we get it over to you.
And Scott, is it safe to say if there's any other county partner that hasn't received that, should they reach out to Kathy Prickett?
Yep. That's definitely where we should go. Yeah. Yep. If you believe that you should be on those trainings and haven't received communication about them yet, definitely reach out to Kathy and we can get that resolved. So yeah.
Great. All right. And Scott did mention our next webinar, that will be November 13th. Again, there was apologies in the chat. I don't know why I put November 7th to start with, but it is indeed November 13th. At 10 a.m. We'll do a quick Visit NC quarterly update, and then a little bit more in-depth look at the new website. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to having you all back again next month. And as always, we will have this recording posted on our industry partners YouTube page, and you can also access that through our revamped partners page there off of visitnc.com. So thanks a lot, and hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.